friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. Well, today I wanted to talk about what many would consider a very unfrugal purchase that I made and explain why. Because most of you know I do try to be very much a penny pincher. I find ways to save money in many ways. I like to shop for things I need secondhand as much as is possible. I do a lot of things that I make from scratch because not only can I make it more naturally, I can also save a lot of money doing it that way. However, I did, as you can see here, recently purchase some dishes that were not cheap. And I want to explain why I did this. Let me go back a few years. We went to an import store one day and I found some nice bowls that were kind of similar to the Fiesta ware. I think they were knockoff Fiesta ware is what they were. And I love the shape of them. They were only $1 a piece. And we did get, I would say we got $1 piece worth of use out of them at minimum. And that was good. But since then, most of them have broken, chipped, or cracked. And so I decided it was time to see if I could find something similar again. With the way things have been happening in our society and the need for our country to be more autonomous, and me being one, me and Patrick both, that make and sell our own handcrafted goods, we understand the cost that goes into making handcrafted goods. So I decided when I started looking at bowls to replace the ones I had, I was going to go ahead and splurge and find something that was handcrafted by somebody here in the US that was well made and the style that I was looking for. And I had to do a little hunting to find it. But I did find an artist, he's out of Utah, and his name is Bruce Larrabee. And I was actually able to get his stuff on Amazon. I've made these purchases from Amazon, but he does have his own website. And I'm thinking if I ever go to purchase any more or another style, I might go through his website. But the idea of supporting someone here in the US to help build the small business, to keep the money within the United States, I thought was more important than me going and finding more cheap $1 bowls. And on top of that, these are very beautiful. And here's the other thing. As I mentioned earlier, I understand the costs of what goes into making stuff. That's why if you go to our Etsy store, you're not gonna find Walmart prices. We couldn't do that. If we were to sell things for Walmart prices, we would be losing money on every sale and we'd end up in the poorhouse. We only make a fraction of minimum wage for the time that we put into our handcrafted goods. And my guess is for this guy, it's probably the same. And here's why. It's not just about our hourly rate, but the time it takes to shop for the goods needed, the cost that we pay for these goods that is going up, especially now in our current crisis. Prices of fabrics, shipping supplies, and more have increased, some incredibly so, forcing me to have to take even more time to see if I can hunt down better deals on these various things so that I don't have to pass the cost increase onto the consumer that likes to purchase our products. However, if this continues, in order for us to keep making the same amount of low pay off of each item that we make, instead of taking an even greater cut in pay, we may eventually have to raise our prices, and I'm really trying not to do that. So me understanding that alone made it worth it to pay what I did for each one of these items. And also keeping the money here in our own country was important to me. And yes, I'm sure I could have shopped longer and harder and looked for something similar secondhand. I just really found it important to invest in something that not only did I really like, and that was exactly what I was looking for, but to support the hand crafter here in our own country. Now, part of the reason I chose these was because I was looking exactly for bowls in this shape, because we eat most of our meals out of this kind of thing, because it's kind of that halfway point between a plate and a bowl, so it has many purposes. It's very, very well made. It has the crafter's logo here, which is his initials. Heavy duty for sure, and just absolutely beautiful. So I was initially going to go look at the ones at Doug and Stacy, the crafter that they buy through, but unfortunately he didn't have the shape and size bowls I wanted, which were these. This is the green, as you can tell. It's kind of almost a teal color. And then this one is called Red Multi, so it has a nice deep red. I just love the colors. And initially I was just going to get the bowls, but I fell in love with this stuff so much I decided I wanted to get the mugs to match. So the Red Multi mug, here's the green to go with the bowl, and then here's the brown. Just absolutely love this one. It almost has kind of a camel look to it, but it has a little bit of blue in it as well. And then this one was just an extra. I didn't actually get the bowls that match this mug, but I fell in love with the mug. I may even go back and get 2 of these bowls. So what I did was I got 2 of each one, which was perfect, because when our kids are over and we're having dinner together, now I have enough bowls for all of us to use. And here was the other thing. With so many people here, not just here in the US, but even from Australia and other countries, supporting our handcrafted goods by buying through our store and being willing to pay $35 for a single crochet hook, I also felt the desire to want to pay it forward by making that same investment in somebody else's handcrafted goods. As frugal as I try to be, this was definitely a big expense. But I am very happy I did it. I have found this investment to be well worth it. Now, I'm not necessarily encouraging everybody to go spend big money on handcrafted goods if you can't afford it and you need dishes. What I recommend is you go to your Facebook market, or if by chance there happens to be any garage or yard sales this year, start shopping around there. Because like these dishes here that I absolutely love, these little dessert or salad plates, whatever you want to call them, I got these at a garage sale and paid very little for them, though I'm sure they were worth a lot more than what I paid for them. And there's a total of 4 different designs, so each rooster is different. And I love these things, and I found that they actually go quite well with my bowls. So a lot of the dishes I have and things that I use, I have bought secondhand. And here's some other things. The Nesco dehydrators that I use. One was purchased at our local scholarship auction, and that money goes into scholarships for our local graduates so they can continue their education elsewhere. And no, it doesn't just have to be college or universities. It can be tech schools as well. And so I've donated a lot of things to that, and I've also purchased things at that. That's where I got my very first dehydrator, and I got it, it was brand new, and I paid half price on what I would have if I would have bought it in the store. And then the other 3 dehydrators I got at local garage sales. I paid $3 for one, $5 for another, and I forgot already what I paid for the third one. It was somewhere in that same price range. I know I didn't pay over $5, and all of them were practically brand new. I think only one of them looked like it had even been used, and even then it was barely used. Same thing with some canners we bought this last summer. I found 2 All-American canners, and we paid a total of $20, and that was with us donating an extra $10 because we knew what they were worth. So if you can't afford to buy this kind of stuff, things that you need brand new like I did here, then at least support your local people, your local neighborhoods. By looking at garage sales, you can find good deals and be a lot more frugal. What I want to see us starting to do more of, and I've tried to do this for years, but it's not always easy, but is trying to buy things made here in the USA as much as possible, or at least finding things that at least you can help somebody else out by buying it secondhand from them. We really need to try to keep our money here in the U.S. and support each other in this way and help out our own economy. This is incredibly important. Like I said, with making my own stuff, the fabrics I used to be able to get before this crisis happened, I have no access to. I can't get any of them anymore. And I've had to start looking elsewhere, and fabrics for my skirts are costing me a lot more than they used to, because I used to be able to get 108-inch wide fabric for the same price I'm paying now for 44-inch wide fabric. That's quite a few more squares that could go in a patchwork skirt. And so it's actually costing me more to make these skirts and aprons, and yet I'm not raising my prices. Not yet. I'm really holding back, because what I'm trying to do is find other ways to make up the difference in the cost. But I don't know how long that's going to happen. I don't know how long I'll be able to do that. And so again, coming back to that, knowing how much money goes into doing this stuff. And then you have to also consider wear and tear on equipment, such as my sewing machine. That thing is running all the time. Yeah, it's a treadle machine, and that treadle table I think will last forever with proper care. But I don't know how long it's going to be before I totally wear out the machine. So far, it's the longest lasting machine I've ever had. But eventually, I think there's going to be parts and pieces I might have to replace. It's wear and tear, and all these things cost money. And so I get this, every time we buy something from China, those poor people over there that are making those cheap goods are hardly getting paid anything. They're not getting paid a living wage. So every time we buy something from China, we're actually supporting bad business practices. And of course, now in our current situation, I'm hoping people are seeing even more so the need for our nation to be autonomous, for us to start creating our own products here in the United States and buying them here. Yes, it's going to cost more, especially with the devaluation of the dollar. It's been going on since 1913 at the establishment of the Federal Reserve, but now it's being devalued even more and even faster. So what you're seeing is not really inflation, it's deflation of the dollar. It's taking more of those dollars to buy that same product because that money is worth less now. So you just have to expect that. That's what's going to happen. Plus, the cost of shipping has recently gone up again. The price we pay for convenience and being cheap is actually been costing our country. So if we can pour our money back into our own local towns, our local counties, and and at least our country, for crying out loud, this is going to be one of the best ways we can help our own economy. And again, you don't have to do it by going out and buying some expensive dishes like I did here. Again, this was something I wouldn't normally do, but I really felt compelled to do it, especially considering our own business and what's been happening in our country. But there are other ways you can support your local communities financially and doing your best to keep your money within that. If you guys have access to someone who raises their own beef or whatever it is, and you can purchase directly from them, that is another excellent way to support people. Look into barter too. If you make this, you might be able to barter for that. And that way it's not going to cost you so much money, and you're helping each other out. There's so many good ways that we can support our own country and our own economy. We need to start learning ways to make up this difference. You just have to find what's going to work for you financially. What can you do to help support your local family-owned business? And this is what I see as the greater good, is doing these kind of sacrifices every so often, which is not really a sacrifice, because I didn't just give this money away. I came back with some high quality items that I have been using daily ever since they come in. In fact, I don't know that I'll ever go back to any of my other cheap mugs that I have. These dishes were worth what I paid for them. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop looking for things I need secondhand and at garage sales as well. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please feel free to share your thoughts about what you see going on in our economy and ways that you are trying your best to help support it in various ways. Okay, well, thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.